Hello and welcome to Shared Screen's Backlog Breakdown. We got a special episode today, thinking and talking all things the Quarry. A little late on it, but we're here. Joining me today as part of Shared Screens, we have Alec Bobko and Jordan Deep. How we doing, fellas?
You're pretty good.
Jordan, you just got back from
about as good as
vacation.
you can for a Monday.
Yeah, I just got back 2 nights ago. I'm still jet lagged.
Perfect, fantastic.
Yeah.
And yes, it has been a hectic Monday for me as well. Work was absolute shit show, but that's okay. We're here to talk about all things the Quarry. But we'll get to that in the back half of the episode. Because like I said, this is Backlog Breakdown. Shared Screen's equivalent to essentially what we've been playing. So, Jordan, Alec, I'm going to go Alec. What have you been playing that you want to talk about?
So I recently, aside from the Quarry, I finished up Uncharted Lost Legacy for the first time.
I started that. That's so weird. I started that last week. I've only put in like an hour or two, but I enjoy it so far.
Yeah, it's such a great game because I played Uncharted 4 earlier this year because they had that, the Thieves or whatever that collection was.
Legacy of Thieves, I think.
Yep.
Yes.
Which is the whole reason I bought it was for Lost Legacy, like the upres version of that or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I had both Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy, so it was just like the $10 upgrade for whatever.
Oh, cool.
For PS5. So,
Mhm.
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. It basically, if you liked Uncharted 4, you'll love Lost Legacy because it just continues the great gameplay, the great story of the characters between Chloe and Nadine. And there's just some great set piece moments like Uncharted, the franchise is known for. So, really enjoyed that one.
I don't exactly remember because I haven't put that much into it, but do they explain why they're there together? Like one of them hired the other,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Yep. They goes through and explains that all through the story.
Yep.
And one thing I like, kind of similar to like the Miles Morales like Spider-Man game, is like this is kind of like the half or the bite-sized version, I guess.
Sure.
It's not like the 20-some chapters like Uncharted 4 was. This is more like 12 to 15, somewhere in that range, I want to say.
A good chunk.
So,
I like that length a lot.
Yeah.
That like 10 hour kind of game.
Perfect. Yeah, exactly. In my limited experience with the game, I got to slight spoilers, I guess. I got to the first tower thing you unlock where you climb to the top.
Yep.
You figure out the first puzzle or whatever. And before then, the two of them, they definitely mention the Drake brothers.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool. You're just getting this other back and forth of previous games and the story and why you're there. That I really enjoyed. So yeah, I didn't expect that either. I thought they just one line throwaway. We're not talking about them and that'd be it. But no, I think, and I'm assuming they'll get brought up again. I don't know, but they were brought up once already, and that was probably within the first 45 minutes of the game. So yeah, it was dope.
Yeah.
I still need to play Lost Legacy.
It's really good.
I've heard it's I've heard that people consider it sometimes over 4 in terms of which one's the best one. I'll get to it eventually, I'm sure.
I think one reason I just like it so much, I love 4, don't get me wrong, like pirates, all that, such really cool theme.
Okay.
But I think for me, I like this one not quite as much as 4, but I just enjoyed it just because, again, that bite-sized package, it just everything just Uncharted just boiled down to its essentials.
Yeah, it's not necessarily in content, but it's like the adult version where it's you don't have to sit here for 30 hours or whatever, which I don't think most Uncharted were about. Maybe they were, but yeah, it's more like you can complete this.
4 was definitely longer.
Yeah.
The Uncharted games definitely have fat in them, and I feel like this one just being here's just the straight story, nothing extra, no maybe big twist that adds 5 chapters. It's definitely a little bit more convenient.
Yep.
And with characters that you pick the right characters. I want to delve deeper into these two people. Yeah, totally. They picked the right characters.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
What
just
else?
some other quick hits. Neon White. Absolutely loving that game. I've it's been nice having playing that on Steam, so I have some friends to compare times to, and let me just say that Nanobiologist, he's very good at that game. His times are insane.
And the whole point of that game, correct me if I'm wrong, is speedrunning, essentially, right?
Yes. Yeah, so it's a first person, almost they say card based game, but really your cards are more just like your weapons. So it's not actually you're building a deck. It's just you just get cards as you defeat enemies. So some of them there's a pistol card. So you can shoot it as a pistol, or if you like discard it, you basically get an ability. And like the pistol, that one is like a double jump essentially. There's some others ones like a lunge, one's like a fireball. There's a stomp for the SMG, and it's just using your knowledge of the terrain, the enemies, the discard abilities, and using all that knowledge to just get the best time possible. And there's actually something I remember seeing a tweet about where there's always just a few different runs that you can do. There's always that initial run of like just feeling the level out. Then there's the run that you do to try to get your best time, and then there's these gifts or the collectibles around the level where they're basically off the beaten path where you have to basically just don't worry about your time, just go and get the collectible. And it's just
like
it's honestly, yeah. And there's a good story in there. If you like Cowboy Bebop, Spike Spiegel, he is the voice actor of White.
Oh, that's very cool. I enjoyed that a lot. I heard there was like an anime opening for that game or something.
Oh yeah,
akin to that. Yeah.
Yep.
Sounds dope.
So yeah, very much enjoying it.
So the cards are like you're just equipping them essentially. You just like it's like equipping an item.
Not quite. It's more you just like pick it up, and you basically have your katana, which is like the one that you always have, and then you can have two other weapons or cards
okay. Cool,
that you can like stack multiple amounts of. So
cool.
But yeah, I think that's about it for games. I haven't really been watching too much, just because I've been trying to sink a bit more time into games instead of as much time to watch stuff. But
fair enough.
Yeah, Top Gun Maverick, very fun. I've seen that about
hell
a few
yeah.
times.
What a flick! Like I went into this being like I don't want to like this movie. I love this movie. This movie's great.
Absolutely,
Is it that good?
Oh,
yes, dude.
It's an experience.
I don't remember if I said this on camera or off camera, but the thing that's boggling my mind is not that I don't trust people's opinion, because so many people have said it's good. So I'm not just disagreeing with all of them. What's fucking me up is that it's the sequel to Top Gun, which in my opinion, from my understanding of somebody who's never seen Top Gun, it's always just been like an 80s dad movie. Like, it's cool, it's actiony. Like,
I mean, it kind of holds up, honestly.
I'm not
for
saying
watching
it
for the
does or
first time
doesn't.
just a few months ago.
I'm just saying, looking from the outside in, this would be like if the next Rambo came out and every motherfucker on the planet was like, this movie is the best thing that's ever been made ever. This is what movies should be.
Honestly, I totally agree with you. This shouldn't work. Like, if you just told me they're doing
I'm not saying it had to be a bad movie, but like the hype it's been getting.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Even like as just in concept, we're gonna do a sequel to this movie that was made what year? 1980 something?
30-something years ago.
86,
like that,
so almost 40 years ago.
Excuse me? Like that shouldn't work. But the thing is, like, the first like 20 minutes of this movie could have been all we got, and I've been like, that's great. I loved it. Like, it's that freaking good, and it just keeps upping the ante as you go, and you're like, no fucking way. And then there's essentially they do the scene again but differently, and you're like, cool. I'm here for this.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. It's really good.
Right.
So
the first one's on
see it in 4D.
Yeah. So the first one's on Amazon Prime, I believe. So if you have that.
Yeah, the first one's worth watching as well. It is propaganda, but it's still just as far as a film goes, it's still good. But I do want to say,
but like it's really good propaganda.
It's really fucking good propaganda. It is what it is. Call it what it is. But I didn't see this movie twice in theaters. I want that on the record. But I considered it, and I don't do that. I don't see a movie like once I see it, I experienced it. I'm good. I'm out. But like I thought about it. I really did. So yeah,
interesting. I'm sure I'll break soon.
Oh, you haven't seen it at all?
You need to. It's so good.
Oh,
I've never seen the original. So what I'm saying is what's fucking me up is the fact that everyone's saying like from like your just regular moviegoer to like actual critics being like, this is so good. I'm like, I thought this was going to be a dad sequel.
I feel like it also is that. Like it's it's great cinema and that, which again shouldn't work. But it's like, okay, here we are. And the thing is they made it like 2 years ago. But because
this was like one of the first movies that was supposed to come out during the pandemic,
and it looks incredible.
So I remember it was one of the first that got delayed.
Yeah, and it looks incredible.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jordan, I mean, is that everything, Alec?
Yeah.
Don't want to.
Yep.
Okay. Jordan, what have you been playing that you want to talk about? Unless you want to stay on the watch train.
No, I mean I'll
I'll
talk
let you.
about playing for a bit.
Okay.
So, like you said, I just got back from vacation, so I haven't been playing much. Before vacation, the last thing I played was the Quarry, which I won't talk about because we'll get to that later. However, I've been playing. Uh, well, so after I graduated in May, I was like, time to get more into gaming and look at stuff, and I finished up Horizon, and then I decided to finally, now that I have a 3080 as well, sign up for Xbox Game Pass. And so one of the things that I'd been doing the past couple months has actually been trying out cloud gaming with my backbone. And so I've just been playing games that I
Ooh.
normally wouldn't play that you could just kind of jump in and out of to see how it all works. I did some Zombie Army. I did some Battlefield 4, like the first level of the campaign. Again, just to see with the latency and all that. I did Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, which reminded me that I hate
Nice.
most fighting games.
Yep.
That
Yeah.
one's one of the ones that I'm like, this is too fast.
Have you played Fighters, Dragon Ball Fighters, or Fighter Z, whatever you
No,
want to?
because when I saw the trailer for that one, I went, that's too fast. Give me Budokai.
Dude, I'm not a fighting person. That game fucking rocks. Like
Does
that
it?
game's
Oh, yeah.
so good.
See,
Yeah,
I liked
even if you're
Budokai
even if
Tenkaichi
you
growing up just because of the 3Dness made it feel like such a real battle to me.
No, I totally agree. And my Dragon Ball games, like unpopular opinion, are Raging Blast games. And I was like legitimately into that
Shout out to
ecosystem. I love
those.
those. I love those fucking games. Like
Yeah.
I earned money playing those games in college. But all that being said, Fighter Z or Fighters it's a good ass game. Like as someone who
Oh,
doesn't
yeah.
play Fighters with
Arc
a few
system works.
exceptions, yeah, with a few
It's
exceptions,
a
that's like a
shame Chris
solid
isn't here because he
8.5.
Gotcha. So the
he'd
next,
go off on
so
it.
Totally.
you know, I guess a preview for the next backlog breakdown is the next couple of games I want to play is I've yet to play Injustice 2, and I loved the first Injustice, and I need to get to
Ooh,
Injustice
the
2.
story's good there.
Yeah,
love
mainly
the
because of the story, and I could do campaign story fighting games. So I know those ones tend to be a little slower in general, but maybe I'll check out Fighters, just do an arcade mode version. See, the Dragon
yeah.
Ball Z fighting game that was my shit was Shin Budokai on the PSP.
The PSP. I didn't play that one. I don't
Bro.
know if a lot of people did. If I'm being completely honest.
I did have a PSP,
I
so.
would never encourage illegal activity on this podcast, but get yourself a shmemulator and a shmom.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah,
Definitely know what those are.
yeah. Or if you have a Steam Deck.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah. But and then the other thing I played, because I was like, I need something short to play on the plane ride because I had like a 12-hour flight.
Oof.
Yeah. I finally got around and I played Lego World Builders on my ride
Oh.
overseas.
Yeah.
What did you play that on?
I played on the Switch.
Okay, cool.
I just for someone because it's on the phone, it's only on Apple Arcade, which and one of the things that disappoints me about Apple Arcade is like I think the subscription model is great. I should also just be allowed to buy the games piecemeal. That's another rant for another day.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I got it on the Switch, downloaded it while I was waiting to board and stuff, and I really enjoyed it because the puzzles are very interesting, but I also like the way they told the story. And I think one of the most impressive things was, like, did you guys play it at all? Do you guys know anything about it?
I watched Andy Cortez play it, and it seemed real pretty.
It's very pretty, and I think one of the weirdly impressive parts about it was the fact that the father and son in the game are not Lego minifigs, they're just stacks of Legos themselves.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
fair enough.
A couple of the puzzles were tricky in navigating like the 3D plane but they have good enough signposting that sometimes you just figure shit out.
Yeah, and apparently there's like a compelling, not really a narrative, but like they're telling a story.
They
kind
tell a
of.
story all through what you do in the game and how you move your characters. There is no dialogue. There's really just what the puzzle is and the music, and that in and of itself tells a story. And it's kind of it's a very sweet story. I'm not saying it had me crying in the club,
Yeah.
but it had me getting like, oh,
Mhm.
I did not think a Lego would
Yeah.
get me this emotional.
Exactly.
Like welling up.
Most people's reaction to it is like, this is invoking an emotion in me that I did not expect.
That's
at
what it
all.
is. It's not the deepest emotion I've ever felt playing a video game. It's not the deepest emotion I've ever felt for something that shouldn't cause me emotion. But it is a deeper emotion than I thought it would get me to. Because again, they're not even minifigs where like you could like pack bond to a minifig because it looks like a person. It's a stack of rectangular Legos that they just go, this is a human.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
You buy it and it works.
I would definitely recommend it for anyone. It's not terribly expensive. I think it's like $10 on the Nintendo eShop. I'm sure it also goes on sale quite a lot. And again, if you have Apple Arcade, it's free.
Fair enough.
Android. Mm.
Well, that's your
Put a pin
fault.
in Apple Arcade because I have something coming back to that kind of.
Okay. So yeah, I played that, and as for watching, Liaren finally did it. She's bullied me. I started on the plane ride, and have one episode left. I am now a Ted Lassoer, a Lasso fan, a Lassoey.
Yes.
Like I said,
One of us. One
I
of
just
us.
finished the episode before the finale of season 2, so right now I'm on the fucking 8 train. I'm heavy on the
Okay.
fucking 8 train.
Yep.
I just that show had me tearing up from the first few episodes just because it was
Oh,
so
dude.
feel good.
Oh,
It's just
yeah.
it's one of those things where like I think I've said it before about Animal Crossing in 2020. I always make the reference to Seth Meyers having the bit on his show, the type of story we need right now, and Animal Crossing was like the type of game we needed right now.
Yeah.
Ted Lasso's the show that the world needs, I think, where it's just like it's positive. There is no serious stakes. There is no drama. There's nothing like over about it, like overly anything. It is just what it is, but I say that in the best way where you're sitting down, you're watching something that makes you feel good.
I would argue that everything you said is accurate, except for I think there is subtle drama, and I think they do
Oh,
subtle
yeah.
There
drama
is
very, very
I
well.
guess again, I haven't finished season 2 yet, so I don't want to comment too much on that. I'll say this, I guess the only criticism I have is there were some things I thought that would be more fleshed out or take us longer to get to that they just did, and they didn't. It took them a while to get there. Like in season 1, I thought that the first time they would tear down the positive image of Ted would be in the finale, or maybe an episode or two before, and have us witness fallout and a breakdown of this character.
Mhm.
They really kind of just do it randomly in like episode 6, and it never goes anywhere other than just to be to the audience, oh look, we did something where he's not a beacon of niceness. But then you're like, okay, are we touching on that? And then it goes on. The other thing was, I feel like Roy retired in a blink, and I thought that could have itself been a very long arc of maybe him coming to terms with the fact that he has to.
Mhm.
I'll agree with that.
Because they make fun of his age the entire season, but you think maybe they're just saying it to get under his skin.
I wouldn't necessarily say it was a blink, but yeah, they didn't exactly flesh
Well,
that
it's
out
like
enough.
he
I
falls in
agree.
the finale. The announcer goes, "Do you think this is his time to retire?" And I was like, maybe they're just saying that. Maybe it's like a Tom Brady situation. And this dude's, and then next season comes, and oh no, he did retire. And I thought that there could have just very much been a breakdown of what that would mean to somebody in Roy's position. But they go and they touch on that afterwards, where he's telling Keeley, "I don't know who I am when I'm not a footballer, like because that's all I've been." I think it would have just been interesting to see that happen before he made the decision to retire.
As someone who I'm not disagreeing with you. As someone who dabbles in like writing narratives, I know sometimes it's just so much easier and more compelling to do things off screen like that. Because like
No, yeah,
you,
and I'm not saying that
yeah,
these are bad choices. I'm just saying
Well,
I found it to be interesting that these were things I
gotcha,
could have seen being their own arcs.
gotcha.
well, plus
Fair enough.
that's kind of just a sports thing too. Is that you get an injury like that at that age, you're pretty much done. Like,
Alec, do you
Yeah.
know the story of Vontae Davis? If I say that, you
I
know,
believe so. Like, I know
he
the
just like
name.
he just retired at halftime in a game.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah, he was a cornerback for
What year was
either the,
this?
either the Colts or the Dolphins. I think it was the Colts at this point. I could be wrong. Don't quote me. But he wasn't like old. He was getting up there for like cornerback age, but he wasn't
Oh
old. Like he
yeah.
could have played in the league for another easy 4 to 5 years without any strain or anything. But he signed with a new team, played maybe a few games. This might have been the first game. I'm not sure. But halftime rolled around. He's like, "Fuck this! Like I'm done. I don't need this."
Now, when you
He
say
just
retired
retired.
during halftime, did he announce the retirement during halftime, or was his last moment on the field in the first half? Halftime
I
happened. He didn't play in the second half, and then he went out and said, "This was my last game."
I think it was more of a he was contemplating it and then sat over the half and then there was a press conference about why he sat and then he's like, "Yeah, you know what? I'm retiring." People are like, "Excuse me?" But yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, going on.
Other times, you retire and then you spend 3 months realizing that you hate your wife and kids, and you unretire yourself, Tom Brady.
Yeah,
I
for a
will
while,
say,
just
oh yeah,
seeing the memes, it's like Tom Brady's kid, blah blah blah. Yeah,
mm.
yeah, that was good. Anyway, go on.
Yeah.
I'll say, I
No,
will
but I.
say
Oh, go ahead.
with Ted Lasso, like I feel like season one is like that like just beacon of positivity, whereas season two, if it hits a bit harder, just because in the more emotional side, because it does deal with Ted's anxiety and his depression and all that therapy and all that, where
It
Yeah.
season
does
two
that
is
so
not
well.
just the beacon of hope that, or not the beacon of positivity that season one clearly was.
Which I think makes a lot of sense because at some point you need to have conflict in a show. Um,
Mhm.
and sure, they could have made the conflict like something less high stakes every episode. Like they could have kind of went like the 80s sitcom route of like every episode there's maybe like a conflict that is really dumb, but within 30 minutes it's going to be wrapped up, and his character
Right.
never really breaks of from that image. But I actually do like this idea of like building this person up to be somebody who we saw get hurled insults at him and stay positive and suddenly tear that down for whatever reason. So I'm liking the way that they're going about it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I do want to move on from Dead Lasso because we have more to talk about. But
I do just want to say shout out to Sexy December 28th. Those writers really nailed that down.
dude, there's so many quotable things from this show that are just I
No,
don't,
nothing is more
somehow
quotable than that. That is truly the sexiest day of the year.
somehow they everything they pull out of their ass just works. Like
Yeah.
whether it's a comedic beat or whether it's just something that needs to be said for the narrative to make sense, like it's always
Mhm.
viable. But what I will say is, I think season two hits harder for what you said, Alec. I totally agree. There's more serious tones to it. But I think in this can be said for like later in season one, but by season two, you're like, fuck anyone who even looks at Ted wrong. Like, like this
Right?
man is an angel. So like
I'll just say,
when Nate
yeah.
starts to turn
Oh
and
yeah.
you're like, okay, no, fuck you. Or like anyone like looks at Ted wrong and you're like, I will fight you. Like,
The other thing I
fuck
like
you.
is that they do hint at these things little by little for a few episodes. Like
Yep.
Nate's kind of slowly become a twat throughout the season. Like yelling at the other Kit Boy and stuff.
Oh my
Beard, we
god, we
hear
need
about his on again, off again shit, and Higgins being like, I don't know if that's healthy, and then we actually get an episode with Beard.
Oh
Higgins.
yeah.
So far, so far in the show, I think my second favorite line, because Sexy December 28th is gonna have to be my favorite forever.
Sure.
But second one is when Ted says about Rebecca's mom, like, "Oh, I love meeting people's parents. It's like a answer as to why they're crazy." And then Beard just does like this cowboy yell for the team, and Ted turns and goes, "How's Mrs. Beard?" And he goes, "Full blown QAnon."
Oh my god, sure. All right, we need to move on. We have too much more to
Okay.
Yeah.
talk about. But Ted Lasso, as you can tell, we stand that show. That is fucking great.
Go watch our spoiler
Oh,
cast.
yeah, it's up for both seasons, I believe. It's there.
Mhm.
Okay, anything else, Jordan?
Um, I mean, this ended about a month ago now, but just because we don't do these all that often, Young Justice season 4 is incredible. It has these great many arcs that all come together in the end. If anybody's a fan of Young Justice or but hasn't yet watched season 4, I was waiting to binge it. I am so happy that I didn't, and the week by week wait was amazing. I know we were considering doing a spoiler cast for that at one point, but it just got in that really busy time at the end of June. But if you're even remotely a fan of DC, I would say watch all of Young Justice because it does a very good introduction to these deeper DC concepts, and explaining the ones that it needs to for its purposes. So just
Totally.
shout out to Young Justice season 4, legitimately just so fucking good. I think it is the best season they've had of that show.
This is on
Okay.
HBO Max,
It
correct?
is on HBO Max.
Yeah.
Um,
It's on my like watch list or
if you've
whatever. It's
never
been
seen it
Dang.
before,
queued.
for context, there was season 1 and season 2 on Cartoon Network. Show got canceled, came back in 2019 after I think it was like 6 years of cancellation.
Jesus.
Season 3 is, in my opinion, the weakest season because it's going through two different growing pains of one being a show that came back from cancellation and two being a show that is no longer on Cartoon Network and now on a streaming service, but not knowing what age demographic was watching it, versus season 4 where they kind of got through those growing pains, went, at this point everybody who watches is an adult, we're going to go back and focus on the main team from the first season. They're all young adults now. We're going to have blood and guts. We're gonna have cursing.
Okay.
We're gonna have these really intensive arcs that fucking make you cry like a bitch. Maybe that one's just
I
personal.
look forward to it. I look forward to that. I love that shit. I'm a sucker for that.
I've been
Sounds like
thinking
an
about
anime.
getting started into that. So
Yeah,
cool.
I'd say to anybody that's even remotely interested, just watch season one, because season one to me is one of the most impressive things of storytelling I've ever seen. Where you think you have a filler episode, and then at like the last minute, you find out it's not filler, and the last 3 episodes tie everything together so well.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Alec, just watch the first 50 episodes, right? That's it.
Hey, it's only 20. The first season of Younger is only 26 episodes.
It's dumb. Okay. Anything else before I finally get a turn?
No,
Okay, I thought you were just come
I,
up with something out of the blue.
I was gonna make a joke, but I was like, it's okay.
Okay, I've watched a few things, nothing extraordinary. I don't think. I started watching Staircase on HBO Max, which is a show about like this guy who gets convicted for killing his wife by pushing her down a staircase, and there's some gray areas and blah blah blah. I watched the original documentary about it, and this is just like a dramatization of
Is this the
that.
dude
So
who claimed an owl did it?
I don't think so.
Lawrence very much into true crime and just tells me about stupid true crime cases. And there was a guy who I think killed his wife by pushing her down the stairs and claimed an owl flew into the house and that's how she fell.
All right. Well, I don't think
Okay.
this is that one. I don't think this is the
I feel
one.
like if they didn't mention it, this can't be it. Because
I
that's not
don't-
something that, like.
Well, here's the thing. The guy is like a chronic liar. So that could have been one of his lies. Who knows? But
Tonight you're going to turn on the
um,
next episode and it's going to be like the owl episode.
sure. I just today watched the penultimate episode of Miss Marvel. Because
I gotta
I
catch
was
up on
late
that.
to watching that, so I kind of slowly caught up, and then my fiance went on a work trip, and she came back, and we watched it today. And then I also started again Westworld. So I've watched the first like 3 or 4 episodes of that show because I started watching it like a while. I don't know how long ago. A while ago with my fiance, who I mean she was my girlfriend at the time. And she was just not into it. She's like, "This is not for me." Blah blah blah. And I was like, "Cool, we don't have to watch it." And then I was like, "I really fucking like this show." So I'm like, eventually I'm gonna come back to it, and I did that over this weekend. And I think that's all I watched. Oh, I watched Thor: Love and Thunder. I am not. I don't. We have a spoiler cast.
We
I
have a
wasn't
spoiler
on it.
cast. Come check it out.
We have a spoiler cast. I was not on it. So my brief thoughts: movie's bad. I don't like this movie. There's so much wrong with it, in my opinion.
Okay.
I think there are a lot of shining moments where like anything Korg says, I would do a movie of just Korg talking. Like that works for me all the time. There's a lot of like essentially this was 3 different movies in one, and I felt like it was just all over the place for me personally. And like in my rankings, out of 29 films, does that sound right?
Yeah.
29.
Yep.
Okay, it's number 20. Like it's not high.
Oh,
It's
wow.
pretty low.
I'm kind of curious as to which 9 movies you thought were worse than it.
I'll bring it up right now. I'm gonna go to my. What
Because
is it
you're
called?
saying just
Letterboxd?
like this is the 29th MCU film, but you're not even counting your Disney Plus show rankings in this.
No. This is just the MCU.
Granted, I'd say
Yeah,
every
all of
Disney Plus show except What If is above Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah, totally.
Actually, I don't know which one I hate.
Oh no, it's doing an ad.
I'm trying to figure out if I like What If better than I like Thor: Love and Thunder.
I'm trying to hurry. I promise. Keep riffing.
Well,
Talk.
No, it's fine.
I guess I'm the odd
I
one
will-
out because I actually really liked it.
You did really like it. I'm not trying to share on your opinion now.
I was a huge Ragnarok fan, so it's like this didn't live up to that. But yeah,
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
I'm not gonna repeat the thoughts I had on the spoiler cast. I don't think the movie's as bad as some people on Twitter are making it out to be. I just think that there are some decisions at the end that kill the rest of the movie for me personally.
To be fair, the one I have right above it, I think, is the last good movie. Like this just falls right out of good for me. But the 9 films I have worse than it. I'm gonna get so much shit for this, especially this first one. Black Widow, Avengers: Age of Ultron, Captain Marvel, Eternals, Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3, Hulk, Thor, and Thor: Dark World. Those are the 9 that are worse than Thor.
Well, you know how we at Share Screens feel about Iron Man 2, so.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
bad movie. I don't care what you say, that's a bad movie.
But it's such a fun movie.
I'm low on all Iron Man. Like my highest Iron Man is the first one, and it's number 19. It's the one that's right above this movie we're talking about right now. So.
Sam Rockwell's Little Dance.
And just to end, I'll put a pin in it, or I'll end this
Yeah.
right now. Thor Ragnarok. You said you were a big fan of Thor Ragnarok, Alec. That's why this is kind of like higher for you. Thor Ragnarok is my number 3, and I still think
Same.
the movie's bad. So I'll put that as it is. I'll get some shit for that. That's okay. So that's the last thing I watched. Playing wise, what I've been playing. I started Fallout 3 again for like literally the 20th time. I need to stop. Someone take
I
this
just
away
have a
from me.
question. When was the last time you beat Fallout 3?
A few years ago, actually. Like
Okay.
there was a
'Cause I
while
don't
ago
know
where I
why.
played it like once a year to
'Cause
completion, but it's
to
been
be
a
fair,
while.
I did use the word beat. Maybe I'm wrong. I feel like every few months I talk to you and you go, I started Fallout 3 again. Like you just
It's
start
not
and you
true.
save.
Yep.
It's not true. I know I bring up Fallout 3 a lot, and I think what my quote, or not quote, but what I used to say is I should start Fallout 3 again as like a joke. Like I've played this game
Mhm.
so many goddamn times, and I had a lull in like review stuff and like anything I wanted to play like for that's like a new game for this year. And I have Dying Light 2 on there, but I know my fiance's leaving for a week soon on a work trip, and I'm like, that's when I'm playing that game. Fallout 3 is it's time. I'm playing this game again. I played
When
this
was the
game
last time you played
literally
New
like
Vegas?
oh, I've only played through New Vegas like 2 or 3 times. That
Okay.
one is not. I prefer 3. I know I'm in the minority on that, but New Vegas is probably the better game. I just enjoy
I
3.
have no qualms either way. I'm just trying to figure out. It always feels like you're playing Fallout, but I guess it's just you're always talking about wanting to play Fallout.
It's exactly what it
That
is.
makes
But
sense.
this time I just did it. I jumped in again. I think I'm like 25 hours in. Like I've been playing this game nonstop for the most part, like at least 2 hours a day, and I don't do that. But I'm finding shit I didn't find before, which doesn't make any goddamn sense. I'm just like running around, like I'm gonna go over here. I usually didn't go over here. Like I know I've been over in this area. I know where a few
Mhm.
locations are, but what about this corner? Like I've run into the corner of the map so many times where it's like you can't continue anymore. Turn around. And I'm like, damn it, because I'm just trying to find new shit. But
Yeah.
I love every second of it. So I've been playing Fallout 3 again. And the weird thing about Fallout 3 is I've only beaten it by like completion 100% once. When I say I've beaten it like a bunch of times, the
Roll
only thing I
credits.
yeah, well, kind of. I've even done more than that. So I usually would do the Game of the Year edition, which has all the DLCs, and I would complete all of those as well. This one is just the base game because it's on Game Pass. I think that's how I got it. Um,
Yeah.
but I've only completed the whole game by collecting all the bobbleheads once. I just don't. I
Mm.
never looked for the bobbleheads. Like it just wasn't something I cared about. I don't play a game as like a collectathon. Like a game like this, I don't play as a collectathon. I just not. That's not why I play games. I just go through to get like the environmental storytelling and
Yeah.
finding a bunch of shit. And
Mhm.
there's a random note there, and you read the note, and it's like something about some rebels over here. So then you go over there, and then you find another note, and it just leads you on this trail. And I like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That gets me going. So, but that's why
Yeah.
I'm
I've been
doing it
itching for
again,
a
and
good
I'm finding new
RPG.
shit. It's the best one ever made. I mean, you won't agree, but that's what I'm saying. I'm sticking to it. All right. Alec already brought up Legacy of Thieves. Is that the
Yep.
Yes.
that's the bundle, right? The two of them.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay. I stopped playing
Yes.
Diablo Immortal a while ago. Finally, I was playing this game because the gameplay is fun. Like, say what you want about all the
Mhm.
microtransactions, I agree with it. It's shitty. It's terrible. But I was just playing it just for the gameplay loop, and I was enjoying it. I was just doing bounties and shit and playing with my cousin, so I was enjoying that. I finally played to completion What the Golf because I bought
Oh
it on
yeah.
Switch. That game fucking rocks. That game is so good. There's so many video game Easter eggs in What the Golf that I didn't expect at all. The final thing is literally like this massive boss battle, and you're like, this is awesome. And I played it in front of my dad, who doesn't play video games, and I started over just to show him the first couple things. Because the first one, it's a regular mini golf. You
It's
hit
just
it in,
golf. Yeah.
and and then like 2 or 3 in, you aim and you, boop, and then your guy goes flying instead of the
Yep.
ball. And my dad lost his shit. He was laughing so hard. He was a little tipsy,
I'm just looking
but
at what the
he
golf
lost it.
because there's so many golf games nowadays that I need to just look at what they look
Oh
like.
yeah.
What the Golf is a must-play game.
Okay.
Austin
I have it
approval.
on
Like
Switch.
that game fucking rocks.
Yeah, I played the first. I would say maybe 30-ish to an hour, 30-ish minutes to an hour. A
I
while
think I
back
beat
when
the
it
whole
first
game
came
in
out.
like 2 days. Like it's not to
Oh
play
wow.
it to completion. It's not that bad. And there's a kick-ass party mode that I didn't know about. Like where it's like
Oh,
you couch co-op stuff where you're like fighting each other in this weird combat thing, and like it's like by rounds. Like
interesting.
so if you win as many rounds, there's just like little mini games leading up to it. But like let's say
Mhm.
I won 10 out of 20, and my cousin also won the other 10. When you get to the final stage, you have 10 lives, and you like duke it out in whatever weird way. So like however many
Oh, that's
rounds you win,
cool.
that's how many lives you get at the end. It's so cool. One
Shout
time
out to Couch Co-op. It needs to come back.
Dude, you're so right. But there was one time where I'm playing with the golf, and I put this on just to show my dad what it was. And I'm going through the menu. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And my cousin grabs the controller. And we're playing this dope ass mini game where we're battling it out at the end. He had like 16 lives. I had like 4. I fucking whooped his ass. I beat his ass with my 4 lives. Fuck you.
Nice.
But
Fuck them
he's
kids.
he's usually better at me in video games. Like full stop. Like he beats my ass.
Mhm.
Not this one. I kicked his ass. The dogs are in my room. If you hear them, I apologize. They are fighting. Okay, cool. I started and put down Prey. That's about all I have to say about that game. It's just not for me.
2006 or 2017?
20 what?
I'm
2006?
fucking
No,
with you. I'm
2017.
assuming, yeah.
You had me for a loop there for a second. Started playing Fall Guys again because they had like new stuff and it was free to play. And I started playing with my cousin and my fiance. And yeah,
Yeah.
that's a fun game. Second time playing it and picking it up, I won. I got all the way to the end and I won.
Nice.
And I was like, this game fucking rocks. Like I got to, I think my last one was like Hexagon, you know? Right? And I
Yep.
just like I've seen the strat where you just kind of let yourself fall like three or 4 levels and then you just run around and jump. And at the point I got to like the final one, there was just nothing there for the people that were falling. So then
Yep.
I won and I did it.
I've yet to win a game of Fall Guys.
I've done it probably
Well.
4 to 5 times maybe.
Okay, don't show off now.
Well, I was just going to say, if you're happen to be watching this the week this podcast releases, this Saturday, July 16th, 8 p.m. Eastern, we're going to be doing some custom Fall Guys games with the community. Twitch.tv/shared screens.
Our Twitch debut.
Exactly.
Yeah, true. Who would have thought?
So,
And my last one for what I've been playing recently is the Cuphead DLC came out, Delicious Last Course. So I went to see family recently, and ended up, and this is a weird story. 1 minute tangent. I ended up staying an extra day with my family to go get donuts at this bakery because the donuts are literally like the best fucking thing I've ever had.
Good
in my
enough that you
entire
spent
life.
an extra day.
Seriously, and guess what? They were fucking closed. I stayed an extra night, overnight. I go to this bakery and we're like, sorry, we closed early for family. And I'm like, fuck your family. I just want donuts, you piece of shit. Anyway.
Now here's the $1 million question. Was this a family trip that you could drive to, or did you like change a flight for these donuts?
It's a 2-hour drive.
Okay.
So I just stayed an extra day and then drove 2 hours. But I was like, man, I really want these fucking donuts. So instead of getting these donuts because we're fucking closed, I went to a Villager, which is just like a family restaurant. It's stupid. Anyway, I was so disappointed. They have donut holes that are like real like diabetes donut holes, and they taste so fucking good, dude.
So none of like this Dunkin' Donuts pussy shit. Like this is some real serious sugar.
This is like from like whenever, I don't know when donuts were invented, but like this is like early days shit where it's like this is gonna kill me if I eat more than 2 of these, but they taste fucking amazing. Anyway, back to Cuphead. Since the DLC came out, I bought Cuphead because I was like, the only way I'm ever going to play this game to completion is if I play with someone. So I bought it for my cousin on his Xbox. I'm nice like that. And we played. And that game's hard as fuck, even with 2 people. I don't know if it scales. Does it scale to 2 people?
I think it does.
You know?
I've heard it does.
Okay.
I've never tried to fully play that. I've played it at a demo at a Microsoft store when they still had those.
Right.
And I went, fuck this.
We played for like, I want to say, anywhere between 3 and 6 hours probably. I know it's a big window. It's just a blur. And we got to the second island or whatever, and that's about as far as we got. We were so angry, but the thing is, when we actually finally did defeat one of the bosses, we were just cussing up a storm, like, fuck you, we did it! We were like, yes! Like, we were so ecstatic. The game's fun as hell. I don't care what anyone says. It's not for everyone, because I probably will never beat that game, just because I had to be in the right situation, and this was the right situation for me. But yeah, when you finally overcome a boss, it's so fulfilling. I love it.
Did you play as the new character?
No, because this was the original game.
Okay, so you
Cuphead. Yeah,
you didn't play the Delicious Last Course.
No,
Gotcha.
but that's why it was in my mind. You know
Gotcha,
what I mean?
no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, and I like to support Cuphead because it's like very unique game and it looks fucking incredible. Like just the animation and like I have a Cuphead Funko Pop because I just like how it looks. Like it's great.
Yeah, no,
That was the last thing I've been playing.
I definitely want to see what that studio makes next. Whether it's going to be another thing that's like an homage to that era of animation, or maybe if they go like with a different style of animation.
Apparently, one Barrett Courtney of Kind of Funny said this, and I was like, you know what, that's a really good idea. He brought up that like there are like very minor horror stuff in the DLC. Like
But
just
creepy.
like
Yeah.
yeah, like just like bone chilling. And I'm like that'd be fucking dope if they use this animation style and make something like spooky. I would be all for it, even if it is a Cuphead, blah blah blah. I'd be all for that. I kind of hope they don't do
Mhm.
that if they're gonna lean into the horror aspect. Unless it's like another DLC pack, then I'm cool with that. But yeah, yeah, I think
Gotcha.
that would work really well. That's everything I have. Do we want to go into the quarry?
Yes,
Let's do
I'm
it.
ready.
Here we are. Okay, so at the top, what did we think of this game? Just like a borderline, like 2 sentences, Alec.
This game, it's like if you liked Until Dawn, you will enjoy this game. Keep it pretty simple or straightforward with that. And as somebody who's not into horror games, I was actually able to beat this game and get through it. So that shows something to, I guess, people who aren't into that genre. I was able to get through both this and Until Dawn. So yeah.
Yeah, Jordan.
As somebody who the only Supermassive game I've played is Until Dawn, I know some
The
people
one you
saying
need to
that
play.
I know some people saying that this is like the one that's as good but still not as good. I would say that they are equally as good for different reasons. I really liked some of the things this did, that changed some things from Until Dawn, but I also wouldn't have minded some of the Until Dawn gameplay elements sprinkled in. Like I feel like the perfect Supermassive game would be a mixture of what they did in both these games. But I think the
Kind of
story's
agree.
fantastic. I think the performances are amazing. Um,
Yeah,
Honestly, like I just think it was so fucking good. Like I also why you were like, oh, this is the only one you really need to play. For me, that's perfect. I'm not a huge horror guy, but in horror, my favorite horror genre is slasher. Like, and I know that technically, spoilers, technically this was like werewolves, but what I mean is like it was the slasher vibe of like you have the group of kids, they're
Yeah.
at a camp.
didn't one have a slasher vibe? Like, wasn't that a whole thing? What? I know there's Wendigos at the end of it, but like, didn't it
Until
start as like
Dawn.
a slasher? What did I say?
They're one of those.
You
Oh,
said
I
did
meant
one
to
of
say it.
those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
All
the
right.
thing is Until Dawn and this one they have the like 80s slasher movie
Yeah.
vibe to them more so than
Yep.
and I'm interested in playing the other three, or maybe not Man of Medan because
I
I've
played
only
Man
heard
of
bad things
Medan,
that.
and it just soiled any like
Yeah.
excitement I had
The
for that.
other
But then the
two, the
Quarry came out, and I was like, holy
yeah.
shit, I'm
See,
all in.
Little Hope and at House of Ashes
House of Ashes.
sound interesting enough that I might give them a shot, but I mean, these ones are what my horror genre is that I could eat up all day. Give me teens
Oh,
doing dumb shit. Give me a game of truth or dare. Give me a
absolutely.
jealous
Oh
girlfriend.
yeah.
Let me see some boobies.
Yep.
We're there. We're good.
This made me think like, is there probably is because like there's so many genres, but as I'm in the middle of playing this, I'm like, is there an anime that's like a Monster of the Week anime? It's like that'd be kind of dope. Like it's just kind of like leaning into the
Scooby Doo.
drama. Nah, I guess,
Scooby
but
Doo
like
is my favorite anime.
essentially just adult Scooby Doo. Yeah, that'd be kind of dope actually. Anyway, I mean, there's a lot of adult themes in Scooby Doo. I don't want to go into that, but you know what I mean.
It's like we need Power Rangers and Scooby Doo to come together.
That's probably happened. I know it's Batman and Scooby Doo. Anyway,
Yeah.
okay,
There's
yeah, I think
Supernatural in Scooby Doo. Sorry,
that's
I just
fucking dope too. I loved that. I'm a Supernatural stan. I love that shit. All right. Yeah, this movie, in my opinion, and it could be recency bias, I think this one's better than Until Dawn. A lot of people that I've heard talk about it, they think Until Dawn is better than The Quarry, but most of them usually say like Until Dawn, The Quarry. Like it's not like holy shit,
Yeah.
Until Dawn is so much. It's just like they're in the same ballpark.
Yep.
Yeah.
From what I get out of this, from my experience, all my deaths I felt like were absolute bullshit. Like I didn't agree with any of my deaths.
We're so excited to talk about the quarry. We completely forgot to tell you guys that we are going to be diving into some spoilers. So if you have not played, you have been warned. Enjoy the rest of the episode. If you're taking off, remember to leave a thumbs up, like it, subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.
One of them I could say, okay, that was kind of my fault because I paused the game and waited a full day to come back. And I paused it at just the fucking worst possible time because it was like right before a life or death decision. And I didn't fucking know that. So I come back and I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just run away. And then Abby dies. She gets mauled by,
Nick.
no, Emma? No.
Oh,
She's like
okay.
in the
So
car and I know we'll get into it, into the
yeah,
nitty
yeah.
gritty of
Mhm.
like how things change. But yeah, I forgot that Emma was even in the car. I didn't look at my surroundings at all. And I'm like, oh, okay, I won't shoot. Like what's happening? Because Emma jumps out of the car, and then you're aiming them. And up to this point, I hadn't shot the gun yet, because I was like, maybe there's an achievement, or not achievement. There's sorry, fuck it. There's a trophy, and I was like, okay, I just want to shoot the gun. And then Abby just dies immediately, and I was like, and I didn't have the not immediately, I guess, but there's like a short scene where she dies, and I didn't have the bonus features back like Alec did. Thank you. And yeah, I was like, okay, cool. And then my other death was Max, because I had him leave the island, and he just immediately dies. And I'm like, fuck, okay,
Now
cool.
I made that decision of like, dude, you are safe here. You are staying.
Here's the thing. I always assume there's gonna at least be a QTE. So like I'm like, no matter what, I'll get out of it. It's fine. I'm good at this QTE shit. And they simplified the controls so like anyone can play this, and I like that. And then again, I don't, because it made it feel too easy, which is probably why I got Max killed, because I was like, I haven't failed a QTE yet, and I leave the island, and you're just dead. You can't do shit. And then someone else died that I don't remember.
So I want to just talk about you saying some of your deaths were bullshit. For context, these are the people in my playthrough who died. I had to pull up the picture. Caitlin, Jacob, Ryan, Abby, wait. And then by the time it was all done, Dylan, Emma, and Nick were all still infected. So I was not very good at this game.
Wait, you didn't end the curse or whatever?
I did not. Okay, so we'll get to that in a second.
What?
Oh,
did you kill the sheriff? You fucking...
I didn't kill the sheriff.
What did you do?
All right, we're getting into this now.
Yeah, no. Fuck everything else.
So, what do you mean? Okay, so I just want to get into the death stuff first. You said you felt like half your deaths were bullshit. So when I said before, I liked some of the way Until Dawn did it, but I liked the way this did it too, and I would have liked both.
My other death, by the way, was the guy in the cage. I don't remember his name. The guy who he gets locked in the cage. He's not the wolf. It's the other guy.
Jacob.
Yes, that was the other.
Yeah, but
death.
You have to unlock him, and if you don't unlock him, you're kind of fucked.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't understand the system, so he fucking died. I'm like, cool. I didn't like you anyway.
I kind of like that some of the deaths in this game were choices that you made a while ago coming back. I just don't like that all the deaths felt like that to me, because Until Dawn was the first game Leon and I streamed together, and I think the playthrough's up there on the Orphan Gamers YouTube channel. Yeah. I fucked up in Until Dawn a few times of staying still and stuff, because I would go to put the controller down so I didn't have to move it, but I do it as it started, so it automatically... And I like it being quick time events, and I like it being decisions you made. I just don't want them to go one or the other. I felt like both these games would have been so much cooler if you had a mix of both. Yeah. But then...
So it was kind of randomized a little bit, so you didn't know what you were expecting.
With Caitlin, so I got... No, I'll actually mention this part at the end. So with Caitlin, at the very end, when she's being chased by the little nephew werewolf.
Yep.
I was like looking up what I could have done, because I really liked Caitlin.
I saved
her. There's like 10, let's just say 10 decisions you can make in that chase, and like 9 of them lead to you dying.
Hell yeah, I fucking got out of there.
It's just kind of one of those things where I'm like, I would have rather of you than just killed her off, because I'm trying to make every right decision I can.
Yeah.
And it just looks like, literally, unless I make the exact path you pathed out, she's dead, and I just wish there was a little bit more leeway. Now,
my first try, I got her out. I freeze the...
Because Caitlin was not dead or infected at the end of this level, but everybody else was, I had a completely different final level. It was not called... what's the final chapter called?
I don't fucking remember.
Something. It's like called...
Done forever.
If you have what I had, where Caitlin is the only one who is not dead or infected, you get a different last level name called The Final Girl, which is that trope from 80 slasher flicks where the final girl survived at the end.
Sure.
Okay. And you never see the White Wolf. I had to look up spoiler casts and backstory to figure out what this backstory about the... What do you call it?
Oh my gosh.
P.T. Barnum-esque type of show shit was. Like, I didn't get that full backstory.
Oh,
so... Yeah. That's a really cool thing in this game, where apparently if you suck at this game...
Oh, I got the card.
I got a decent amount of cards, but I never met
the V card, though.
No, there's one that's V card, where it goes into a playable segment where you play as like the mom of...
The fortune teller, basically.
Yeah.
The person that you're getting. Eliza, I think is her name.
Yeah. I never knew the full story of the Wolf Boy. I never saw the Wolf Boy. I didn't know you could kill the Wolf Boy. I'll stop saying Wolf Boy.
Silas.
But... Yes.
So I would say
Yeah,
when
Alec,
you get
go
that
ahead.
card, when you get that card and like you beat that level, bring it back, she just flips out and just like,
Yeah.
where'd you get this card? Where did you get this card? This should not be here. And then it goes into the story of like the beginning of like how all this got started, basically.
And I was told the story like at other areas, like what happened with like the niece and the nephew setting a fire or whatever.
Yeah,
to
like
help
they give you
Alec escape.
hints.
Yeah,
I
I
do
got that.
wish there was a mandatory part that did just break down that lore for you. Because I think it adds a lot of depth. This is also a dumb complaint. I don't like that it happened in 2015. That feels so recent for that to have left some sort of curse or haunting on the campgrounds. That shit should have happened in like 1920.
Okay, I agree with you,
A
but
ghost shouldn't have an iPhone. That's all I'm gonna get at.
here's the thing. I don't think the ghost belongs in this game. Like I love the werewolf and the family combination.
Ghost?
I love that shit. The ghost stuff was so, in my opinion, dumb. It did not belong in this game. If they would have
So-
just leaned into the family and the werewolf stuff, I think it would have balanced so much, like just better.
I agree, and I think I think it takes the one negative of Until Dawn's story and makes it worse. Where like Until Dawn had the thing with the Wendigos, but then there was also were they coal miners or something who got
something like that. Yeah.
who like got stuck down there, and you're dealing with a legend and a historical event that both come together to fuck up the characters that are there right now.
Mhm.
And I'm with you where I think they should have just stayed with one. Especially,
I don't know
and
what
again,
the
I think,
ghost is, I guess, unless I'm not remembering it.
well, like the
Ghost-
old woman going,
Yeah, the ghost was the mom.
Oh, gotcha.
it just felt
That
like
aspect, yeah.
the reason why I say I also think
weird.
it's dumb that it happened in 2015 is because like it just feels like, oh, this campground's been haunted for ages, for like a century, for something.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But then 90% of it is the werewolf stuff, that the ghost stuff just feels unnecessary. But then I guess they bring it back by making him the white wolf rather than a ghost boy.
Yep.
Well, he never died, but yeah. I mean, at the end I killed him, but yes.
I still have never seen the fucker.
He's there. He exists.
Oh,
I
yeah.
shot him. And then he
Same.
went, ah, and then he died.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
I guess real quick, let's see. For me, Caitlin died in the freezer. I didn't
Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
say. Was it Nick died? Let's see.
Yeah, fuck Nick. Nick was lame.
Yeah. Emma died, and then Max died. Like the out of the main characters, I only had 4 deaths.
Max was my favorite character, and I fucking, the way he dies, I fucking hate it. He was
Of
my
the
favorite
side
character, and then that
characters who
happens,
died.
and I'm like, God
Well,
damn it.
because was it?
was just wondering, of the side characters, who for you guys died / did you kill?
I already said all the people that died for me. It was Jacob,
I honestly don't remember.
Abby,
Okay.
Jacob, Abby, and
I think most of the family was dead for me.
For me,
Oh,
Ted
you're
Raimi.
talking-
I'm
you're
talking
talking
about
about the
those side
family.
characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The entire family died for me except for Ted Raimi's character
Yep.
and the big beefy brother. I saved him like
Oh, no, I
in
killed
the moment
Big
where
beefy
you can
brother, I
shoot one
think,
of them. I shot
died.
the werewolf or whatever. I
The
think.
dad died, but not because of me. I
Yep,
I shotgunned the old lady's face off by accident,
Oh yeah, same.
Yeah, I did
and
that,
that was
too.
gruesome.
I did
Oh,
that
yeah.
too, and I did not feel bad about it. I was
Nope,
like,
no.
why are you wrestling me in the dark for this weapon? Stop!
Yep. So for me, the only death I'm a little, I'll say, mad about would be Emma's death for me. So like when she's in the treehouse, you can basically go for the bag or go for the door. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go for the
you
door.
got her killed in an instant, right?
Oh yeah.
I heard about
You
this.
have
Yeah,
no
Snowbike
chance.
Mike went through the
It was
same thing.
essentially the Max thing. Yeah, I lucked out and I did the right choice so she didn't die. But yeah,
See, I lucked out and I looked at the bag first, and I think I ended up taking the taser, and the werewolves did not respond well to the taser, and that helped me survive until she got bitten.
I think I did the same thing because
Yeah.
at this point, I think
So-
you already know it's a werewolf, and I'm like, that's not werewolf spray. We're gonna do bear spray, and it's gonna be
I
like,
was
what
gonna
the fuck
ask,
was that?
at what point did you guys start to realize it was werewolves?
Oh, right away. But
Oh,
I literally, as I
realize
was
till it
playing,
said.
I was like, when they said, there's a thing in the road, I went, probably a werewolf. As a joke. Like when
Okay.
they're literally the intro where there's like a blur that you hit. I was like, could be a werewolf. Because literally the only reason, because you open up to Ariana Grande singing in front of the moon. And I literally was like, moon, werewolf, I got it figured out as a joke, and I was right.
Interesting.
I didn't get any of those clues. I was surprised.
Yeah,
with
that's
I
the
was
thing
like,
is, I wasn't
werewolf's
like,
awesome.
I think I figured it out
Also,
when
Ariana
Nick's,
Grande? Like the opening song, I was like, okay.
the soundtrack to this game is Chef's
Pretty good.
Kiss.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I didn't like watch too many things going into this game. I was just like, this is my type of game. I want to play this.
I didn't look at shit.
And I just, so I didn't know what to expect. I assumed it would be a slasher thing at first, so I wasn't picking up the werewolf hints. I got the werewolf when Nick started like sniffing Abby and she threw him into the pool and he didn't like water.
Yeah, and
And
I think a lot of this was made up, but there's probably lore about it somewhere. But yeah,
before that, the reason why I didn't say werewolf was, and I was like, oh, did they really do zombies again? Because you still get infected by being scratched or bitten, and they did like the very skinny type of werewolf. Like the only werewolf I've ever seen have that design is like Harry Potter 3.
Right.
Yeah, I like how this was werewolves, but it was a unique take on werewolves. Like, see,
It's not what
least...
I think of when I hear of a werewolf. Like I was thinking like Teen Wolf, Michael J. Fox shit. I wanted to see more hair.
Not the body explodes into a wolf.
Yeah, I like
that part's weird.
I love that part. I don't like when they turn back. Like your skin's just magically there, and somehow they have clothes.
Right.
And you're like, huh?
To get around ratings, I'm guessing.
This is the confusing part.
That, but I was like, then don't just show them from the face up. Like I don't know. It felt weird. There are ways around it.
I don't think it becomes a thing about like how you frame the character, but more so it's like, well, now the character has to deal with being naked and finding clothes.
I mean, they do that exact thing. She's like, "Who's gonna give me clothes?" And that was still an awkward moment. Like, go get your own fucking clothes.
And then at the end, Max is wearing like Emma's like little.
I laughed real hard. Then he fucking dies. I'm like, what? Which was a range of emotions. but yeah. So there are a few bullet points I wanna cover as like a rough, not really review, but we're just going over what we thought. I thought all the characters. I didn't find a character I hated as much as. I don't remember her name.
Right, I know exactly who you're talking.
Emily, yeah.
Yep. The girl from Shameless.
There wasn't a character that's like, ooh, I'm supposed to hate you. I think Emma was the closest, but like I didn't hate her at all. I thought
even Emma,
she was just like she was odd, but I was like, cool. You're right.
Yep.
I thought all the characters felt genuine, which for this type of game could be really fucking challenging. The one character I had problems with was Chris. Sometimes Chris, is that his name? No,
Chris is the counselor.
I meant Ryan. It's Ryan.
Okay, so at first I felt that Dylan and Nick were weird to get into because at first the way they're introduced, they just really seem like dicks to Jacob for no reason.
Dylan is an acquired taste, but Dylan became one of my favorites near the end.
Dylan.
Oh, yeah, it was Dylan that died, not Max. Sorry, I got those two confused.
Max is the one from the first, from the prologue.
Yeah, right. Max is the one who leaves. Yeah, he leaves the island. I got him fucking killed. No,
Max is Gwen Stacy's sister from the Amazing Spider-Man movies.
That's what I know him as. Holy shit! Holy shit! I was like, I know this guy's face.
I did the same thing, and I started looking up the cast. So Ryan and Dylan and Nick were like a little bit like I'm not sure if I like your introduction. Nick, I've just come to the conclusion that I can't actually rate him as a character because he turned very early, and that changed his whole personality.
Yeah, that's kind of how I was like that too. I was like, you were kind of a douche, but like I also didn't really get enough of you to judge you accurately. I like Dylan a lot.
Dylan to me just looks like the thing with Dylan is that he kept looking like Uncanny Valley Cole Sprouse to me.
Oh no,
especially when you had to make decisions and they just zoom in on their face and they're making like these weird little smirks. So Dylan, I was just like, I like you, but I don't like you.
Totally. The scene where he has to cut off, well, I guess he doesn't, but like Ryan cuts off his hand with a chainsaw.
I didn't cut off his hand. They were saying on the kind of funny spoiler cast, oh, you had to cut it off. No, you didn't, and he turned into a werewolf.
Oh shit! But
I was very bad at this game.
When the choices were shotgun or chainsaw, I was like, "What do you mean shotgun?" That's what I thought too. But, so I did that. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, no, shotgun's the dumbest decition I think you could.
I did think it was such a weird jump. Like you're like, oh my god, I got bit. I'm like, what the? We don't even know what this is, my guy.
That's the thing. Yeah. Literally 20 minutes later, I realized it was, or less than 20 minutes later, I realized it was werewolf. And I was like, oh, fuck, I probably should have
and at this point, I knew it was a werewolf, but I knew the characters themselves didn't actually know that. So it didn't feel, that action felt like such a leap to me. But like, I got past that because
they knew it was an infection. So I mean.
Sure. But I was just like, like, sorry, if I'm in that moment, I am not immediately going, cut it off. Like, I'm a pussy.
I
I'll be
see.
like, well, maybe.
No,
Hold
and
up.
see, my other logic was like, okay, clearly the game is trying to hint at like if you get hurt by one of these things, you need to get rid of this body part. I'm going, I don't wanna end the game with like 12 amputees. I'm trying to make it more of like a race against time that maybe I can find the cure to whatever this is before the infection, which is
Gotcha.
or whatever it was, fully comes through. Like I just thought I was making the time limit shorter for me or raising the stakes. Um Ryan, listen, I'll be honest. The only thing I've ever seen Justice Smith in is Detective Pikachu. I'm not
Thank
gonna front.
you. Same for me.
What the fuck was up with his voice? It felt like he was just trying to sound cool, and his tongue was on the roof of his mouth the whole time. Like
I
you
got
guys,
used to it, but yeah, at the
in the
beginning, I was
beginning,
like,
it was just like,
this is
I
weird.
don't
Like, I
know,
don't.
the hag's a hack at
I kind of
Quarry.
liked
I'm
him
like,
as a
fucking
character.
speak, bros.
I thought, yeah, I got used to it, but like at the beginning, I was like, these lines don't feel right. Like, I don't know
It's
what
also
it is
not as
about
it's
it,
not as
but
atrocious, I think, as it is in the beginning. But in the beginning, I'm
Mhm.
like,
sure.
you're speaking without trying to move your lips or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I got over that pretty quickly, but yeah, the first couple lines, I was like, "What?" And the funniest, and not in a good way, but the funniest line, kind of funny about this up too, is, so I don't want to say like it was my own thing, but there's a line where he's like, "No, you're a fucker," and he's like stabbed at this point and like hobbling away from this giant
Also,
man.
like,
I
dude,
think.
you're like 20, 22 years old. It sounds like somebody called a kid a fucker, and the kid went, "No, you're a fucker." Like, what is this?
Seriously, I was like, "Wait, what?" I started laughing, like pretty damn hard at
'Cause
this
I feel
moment
like
for
by
not
15, you
not the right
realize.
reason.
I feel like by 15, you realize being called a fucker means literally
Did
nothing.
Sure,
mhm. So did you
I like
guys
go
pull the knife out or did you leave it in
I
and
I
turn
left
left
into a
it
it
in
werewolf?
until I had to stab Bobby.
exactly. I left it, and I'm like, "There's gonna be a moment, and I'm gonna seize this moment." And I knew at the beginning, like, I'm not a moron. I'm like, if you get stabbed with something, you don't immediately take that
You're
shit
not
out. You
supposed to
leave
take
that
Exactly.
that.
shit in there. So I was
Yep.
like, we're leaving that in there until like life or death. I mean, it's already kind of
I
life or death,
think
but
I
you know what I mean.
actually left it in until basically the point where, because they say I think Emma bit him so that way he could become a werewolf and
Yeah,
heal.
it's like right before that moment where
Emma
you
or
finally
Laura?
take it out.
Laura offers to bite him.
No, it is
Or
Laura.
Laura.
It is Laura,
I'm getting people's names confused.
which is usually
Yeah.
usually my mo. But yes, it is Laura.
Problem is, I only know
Eye
like
patch.
some of the actors' names, so I can't even go by that.
Yeah,
I,
it was Laura.
that would be worse.
There's a scene. I don't think it's that much in front of this. Like it's like right before this, I think, where like he takes it out and stabs
Bobby,
the young
Okay,
Bobby,
that's
the
how.
younger brother,
Yep.
but the big brother.
Yep.
the
Okay.
giant
Yeah.
dude
That's
wearing
what I
overalls
did.
without a shirt.
Which
Yep.
is kind of how Ryan dies because he pulls it out and he starts bleeding to death. And
Yeah.
that's when Laura's like, "Well, I can save you." And that's what I'm going to segue that into my other thing that I really enjoyed about
Mhm.
this is like I felt conflicted on choices often,
Oh
and
yeah.
that is because of good writing. Like I can't let that go unsaid because like in that moment, this was the most conflicting choice for me. Some people are like, "Oh, duh, like let him live," but like in that moment, I was like, if I was Ryan, like I know Ryan is a character, Ryan doesn't want to do this. Like Ryan has been very vehemently against like kind of turning and this whole kind of like doing that kind of dark shit. So I was like, Ryan as a character wouldn't do this, or would he? Like I don't know if he's like desperate enough right
That one was
now,
a
but
tough decision for
I
sure.
I literally sat there for like a solid couple minutes and I was like, I don't know because I was like, maybe if I turn him, then something will go wrong. Like my initial thought was like, Laura's not gonna stop. Laura's gonna bite him and just fucking keep going because of like the
Taste.
hunger or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I was like, and there's a moment of that because as soon as I was like, fuck it, I'll have him turn. And Emma, fuck it, god damn it, Alec.
Laura.
Laura was like, she's biting him, and there's a moment where like she kind of doesn't let go, and I'm like,
Yeah.
god damn it, I
Yep.
knew it. He's gonna die, and then he didn't. But yeah, I was like,
I think the
oh.
other decision, I don't remember. You have to make this type of decision multiple times, so I don't remember which one it is. But there's also one where they're like, "Do you keep the gun or do you give the gun to this character?" And I was like, "Oh, this is tough," because I feel
I
like
always I always give the character I the wow. I gave the gun to the person who I thought could use it more accurately, like Caitlin, or rather than Dylan, or something like that. Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah. No, but I think it was like a thing where like I think it was Jacob was leaving the rest of the squad to go look for Emma, and he goes, "I need the gun." So it's not your who is holding the gun within the group that's staying together. It was, do you take the gun from this group
Yeah.
and give it to the other group that split up, or do you
Mhm.
keep it?
Yeah.
That one was
Absolutely.
tough for sure.
So yeah, just I want to go through a few things. Like I think this game looked amazing. I think
Oh, yeah.
just because of what it is.
Even-
Like this was I was like I'm so happy I got a PS5 for this. Like this is one of the games where I need
I
it
played
for
on
that.
PC.
Even on a Series S, it looked great.
Good.
So yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
I thought, like I said, some of the choices were great. I thought the writing was real good. The writing real good. I'm just going through the brief notes. Like I said, I said this once already, but I love the combo of the family and the wolves. I think if they just leaned into that more, it would have been so much better, in my opinion. The ghostly stuff, I felt it felt shoehorned in to have those card moments where you're getting this back and forth, which is the mo of fuck.
Supermassive games.
Thank you. Which is the mo of like having that kind of space away, and then you kind of go back and you get
Yeah,
like the little
And the things you say to that
Anthology
narrator
series.
character coming
Yeah.
Dark Pictures anthology.
Yeah, which is it's very up their alley, and I get it.
Yeah.
It didn't feel organic enough for me. It felt shoehorned into the narrative.
See, I didn't think that was a ghost thing. Like, so that's why that didn't really.
To me, it wasn't the narrator that threw me off. It was the legend of what happened at this sideshow, and the like white wolf thing. I think I think there could have been a cleaner way for them to introduce how this family ended up being werewolves and why they don't kill the werewolves. They just kind of let them
They
turn 1 month.
They explained that from my playthrough.
But what I'm saying is that it's all tied into the ghost.
I mean,
because did they not turn the night that they started the fire at the sideshow, and the sideshow's where the white wolf was? Like, I'm just saying, I think there could have been a cleaner way to eliminate the ghost from it.
Because
Silas bit the
Silas
nephew.
bit the nephew, and then the nephew bit the
That's
dad.
what I'm saying. I think there's a cleaner
way
way to.
But you're saying
If
the
you
way
get
you're
the
saying
right
it is that like
storyline.
you didn't need the ghost stuff. You don't need the ghost stuff. If you take the ghost out of it, all that could have happened. That everything you're talking about could have
The
still
ghost
happened
comes
without
from the
ghost.
white wolf.
The ghost is not the white wolf. The ghost is the white wolf's mom.
That's what I'm saying. It's still connected.
Okay.
I don't know.
So is my shirt to my body. The shirt didn't make me. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I don't think. I just think the ghost stuff didn't belong.
Oh,
in my
also,
opinion.
this plot hole was bothering me the entire time. So maybe there's a line that I missed. They were at camp for 2 months, right?
Fuck, I don't know. Summer.
Probably.
Okay.
I don't know.
I feel like it was a 2-month thing. Like the night before camp, the prologue, and then 2 months later is where the rest of the night happens. What the fuck was the camp doing during the first full moon of the camp then? Because if it's 2 months, that means that they went through a full moon.
Well, I mean, they probably were more prepared. I don't know. The family's probably more prepared for that first full moon.
But the head counselor turns into a wolf.
Yeah.
Well, that's why the other cages down in their house.
They showed where the counselor was. He was like tied up on that post. I guess it technically doesn't have to be Chris. I think technically that can be someone else at the end. But anyway, it showed precautions that they were taking, and the only reason they got caught this time is because Jacob was a fuck and removed that thing or whatever.
So I want to talk about that inciting incident because it pissed me off.
Yeah.
Because Caitlin says something about you could take this or this, and I was like, oh, this is foreshadowing. One of these things is going to be what. And then they make Jacob actually be the one to do it, and I felt like that is so fucked up because basically the whole reason this happens is because Jason was trying to get pussy for one more night.
I think it's hilarious. I think it's terrible, but funny as hell.
I don't know. It feels so weird to me, and then it also never comes back to like a discovery where people are like, you fucking what? Like
No. That part I was okay with, but the thing I didn't like about it is that like, you can choose to take the
rotary arm,
or whatever the fuck, and you can keep that thing throughout the entire game from what I know, and
you don't put it back in the car. Which one did you guys pick? Because I figured it'd be easier to put a rotor arm back in than
that's exactly my thing. I was like, if I gotta hightail out of here, I want to keep that bitch in my pocket. And then I lost it in the lake. I lost it in the lake, and I was like, I'm not fucking finding that shit. Like, there's no way the game is gonna let me find it.
Apparently, you can go back and.
Yes, apparently you can find it. I assumed this is a waste of time. I'm gonna drown or some dumb shit. So
even if you
didn't do it.
I think I got mine again because that's how he discovers when he gets it. That's how he discovers the hiker that they were keeping in the lake.
He can discover the hiker? I saw the hiker in a scene. I didn't know they can actually discover them themselves. Like there was a scene of them discovering the hiker?
There's when Jacob jumps into the water to grab the rotor arm, he looks up and he sees the hiker's dead body being kept underwater, and he flips out and he goes and tells Emma about it. And it's the thing of like those hikers died because of the wolves and the family's keeping it under wraps.
Mm-hmm.
But even if you get the rotor arm back, at no point is there an opportunity, at least in my playthrough, but from what I've heard, there isn't, for Jacob to run back to the car, put the rotor arm in, and give you a working car.
Yeah, I don't think there is, which is an aspect of it that I didn't like. But if we're talking about segments, this just popped in my head, we've covered pretty much like I think it's graphically great. I think the writing is good. I think it, in my opinion, it's better than Until Dawn. I think the characters feel genuine. I don't think the ghostly stuff should be there. But yeah, I think this game is well worth your time, in my opinion.
Oh, 100%. I mean,
It's
I want to
fun single player. It's fun couch where you just kind of pass the controller
I want to
around.
do
You
it
got
with
some
a
drinks.
with a family night of just like
Totally.
instead of watching a
that'd be
horror
so
movie,
much
let's
fun,
make
yeah.
decisions for this. Let's all scream and hate
Yeah,
what
even
decisions we made together.
even if it is just one person controlling it, yeah, movie mode's an option as well. Even if it's just one person controlling it, everyone's screaming like, "Do this! Don't do this! Oh, you're an idiot!" But like that's fun to me. Like
Yeah.
it's hectic. I admit it's hectic, but I still think it's enjoyable. It's a good time. However, I do want to go over like our favorite segments because my favorite segment of the entire game was when we drop a fucking car on a werewolf.
Yes,
Dylan and
that's
Caitlin
mine.
fucked up this werewolf. Fuck you.
Okay,
I
so
think
fun
it was
fact.
the nephew
I
werewolf.
think I couldn't keep track of which one was which.
I think it
that one.
was.
It
No,
was hard.
No, but
Admittedly,
the
it was hard
nephew
to keep
pops
track.
out of the fireplace. I think it was the niece.
The niece is dead, isn't she? The niece is
Oh
what?
yeah, you're right. Yeah, Laura kills the niece.
Laura shoots the. We don't even fucking see the niece because Laura
Yeah.
comes in, fucking. I killed Chris, and it was the niece. She's
Okay, yeah. So we don't know.
also real quick. Sorry, I just remembered this. When she immediately comes back looking like fucking Tomb Raider, I was like, holy shit, who the fuck is this? There it shows a body in the water for like half a second. I swear to God, it showed Jacob for me for like. I
Oh.
swear on everything that I saw that day.
Maybe the
Like-
niece is just the Jacob model, like with a palette change. 'Cause
Dude,
you
I-
only use
'cause-
her for this.
Because right before that, I left Jacob like in the woods or something. Like that's just the way it like the story progresses. Like
Mhm.
the last thing you see Jacob is like maybe him with like a bear trap or something. I don't fucking remember. But I left him in the woods, and then he runs into the hunters or whatever, the family, and then it goes to something else. So then when I see a body floating in the water, I'm like, they fucking killed him, and then it cuts and whatever, and then it comes back and it's not fucking.
And Ryan's
Jacob.
like, "Oh no, that was whatever her name."
Mhm.
Laura, yeah.
No, Laura was the.
Wait, what?
When Ryan looks at the body and goes, "That's Chris's daughter." Yeah.
Yeah.
Segment. So, fun fact for somebody who had the worst playthrough of this game: when you drop the car on the werewolf, that's when Dylan turns. If you don't cut off his hand.
Oh, really?
That's
Yep.
awesome. Is that and Caitlin still didn't die in that
No,
moment?
because he drops
She's a
it and
G.
he feels himself turning and he yells, "Caitlin, leave!" or something like this, and she books it. And then that whole segment in the lodge where she's being chased by Caleb is just her. Dylan is not there.
Oh. Dylan is a G too, being like, "I'm turning, save yourself," and then he fucking explodes.
Yeah.
I'll say that music choice was so cool.
It was
in
so
that.
good, and I love the
Yeah.
the motion lights in that moment. You're
Yeah.
it's getting closer, and it's getting closer. I'm like, that's
Mhm.
fucking dope. Like that's really
Yep.
cool. I like that a lot.
That was a good segment for sure.
Yeah, that was my favorite segment of the whole thing. The
Agreed.
segment where it's Ryan and Dylan in the cabin was dope too, because for different reasons. Because like, I mean, clearly there's the chainsaw scene, but I liked getting more of Dylan. I liked getting more characteristic of like, oh, was that?
Did you
around that time?
guys-
It might have been leading up to that, but it's like at this camp, I am like snarky Dylan because it worked here. Blah blah blah. Back home, I'm just essentially
I'm a
genius.
physicist.
Yeah.
Um,
I liked those character
yeah.
moments. Which
Did
is
you
why
guys
I like Dylan a lot.
encourage? Did you guys encourage Ryan to be with Caitlin or Dylan more? And can you ever go full blown with it, or is it always kind of he doesn't really pick?
I don't know because I accidentally went with Caitlin. I was trying to go with Dylan. I fat fingered it and I went with Caitlin. I was like, cool. But I didn't want that. And then I kept messing up essentially where like I would be doing like actions as Ryan and it said like Caitlin thinks you're a pussy, essentially. And I'm like, God damn it, like fuck. Yeah.
I don't think you can go like all the way one way or the other. 'cause-
I'm not saying they have to bone. I just mean like for him to be
Right.
like, "Oh, I like you."
To be fair, Ryan was weird. Ryan wanted to fuck everyone apparently because he has a thing for Laura. Like clearly had a thing for Laura at the end.
Laura had a thing for him too, and the entire time I'm playing, I'm like, "Aren't you
Laura-
doing this because of your boyfriend?"
Yeah, I'm like, Laura, you have a man.
Or she
So, I
just
mean,
kinda
I
like-
fucking killed him on accident, but you don't know that.
Do they have an agreement that he's like, "Hey, listen, the night I'm a werewolf, you're a single lady"?
Like, I don't fucking know. I also really enjoyed the like segments of them in the jail, like with Ted
Yeah, that
Raimi's
was really
character. I
cool.
thought that was really cool
That
too.
one was really good. I think honestly that might be my favorite segment because I really liked the way they played that reveal of like he gives her the legend in the poem and she's reading it and like you're trying to understand it.
That felt
Um
cheesy, but I understood it.
it
Like
felt cheesy,
I was
but
like, eh.
I kind of like the way that like at so far you're getting these little bits and puzzle pieces. You have somebody actually does say the word werewolf before this, so they do kind of tell you. But
Yeah,
this kind of lays out what the rest
Max.
of the game's gonna be.
I think
Um,
Max is the first person to say
he
werewolf. I
is.
think. Yeah.
The one thing that fucked me up was I think I misunderstood the legend because I thought that they were saying that the werewolf has to kill the one who turned them. So I was like, why the fuck does Laura have to kill Chris? That's not going to do anything. But I guess it's just if anybody kills the werewolf, their line goes
Yeah.
down
Yeah.
Yep.
or gets cured.
Yeah. Cheesy isn't necessarily bad, but yeah, in that moment I was like, that's a bit much. Like you could have done that differently, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a
Right.
thing in the jail cell that I was supposed to like interact with like a brick and something else
Yeah,
to like,
because then you
and
can put
I
the
just fucked
spoon
that
in
up.
there,
Then,
or
yeah,
the needle. The needle. Sorry,
you keep your contraband in the brick. I thought
Oh
you were
yeah,
going to get to
see,
use the brick itself.
I literally did all of that. Now that I remember, I did all of that, but when I grabbed the needle, I forgot to put it in the brick. So then when Ted Raimi came back, I just fucking had that shit, and he was like, "No," and I'm like, "Fuck, damn it." But yeah, so overall, yeah, this game's great. It's so worth your time. In my opinion, it's better than Until Dawn. I think Jordan and Alec will say Until Dawn's better, but the Quarry is pretty damn
I
close.
think they're pretty equal. I
Yeah,
do
Oh
think
yeah.
that there's some things I like better about one and others I like better about this. I think Until Dawn
that's a good point.
has the added stuff to the story and mixed in cleaner. Whereas with Until Dawn, where they suddenly talk about those coal miners or whatever, I'm like, that's weird, but it's all making sense. With this one, I'm like, you could have cut out a third of the lore.
See, that's where I think why I like it, because I think, with the exception of the ghostly stuff, I think the family combination. I found like a broken record for a lot of stuff I'm saying, but I want that sell to home that the family combined with the werewolf and the writing around that and genuine characters. That's what did it for me. Because in Until Dawn,
Oh
I knew what
yeah.
they were going for, but I felt not necessarily the growing pains of doing that, but it was kind of like the first foray for you know what I'm trying to say, into that type of game where it's like an interactive movie and
Yeah.
like
Yep.
none. I don't want to say none of the characters, but a lot of the characters didn't feel quite as genuine as these characters do. I think they do a better job now. Of course, technology is advanced, and actors understand what they're doing probably better than they did back then. But for like, it's a playable video game,
Yeah.
but that kind of thing. But yeah, I think just the performances are better. I think the writing was better, and it's next gen, so it looks prettier. So like, in my
Mhm.
opinion, it all just added up for this being a better product for me personally over
I
Until
feel
Dawn.
that.
But Until Dawn is still like, in my opinion, like an 8. So I'd probably give this honestly probably an 8 too. I just like this one more than Until Dawn.
Mhm. Yeah, I would say I think one of the reasons I just like Until Dawn better. It's like it's nothing against Supermassive or 2K or anything. It's just when you develop for multiple platforms, you just don't get that quite refinement you do like Until Dawn
Sure,
had.
sure. Yeah, that
That's
was
fair.
a PlayStation 4 exclusive, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
Because
I forgot that.
the thing where you had to stay still was based off the light bar.
Yep.
Also, I remember there was like the perfect. There's a line that's delivered in this. I was like, that would have been such a better title than the Quarry. The Quarry, honestly,
The
is
Hags
not
of
that good.
Hackett's Quarry.
It wasn't that, but the Quarry as a title kind of sucks in my opinion because you don't really do a lot in the Quarry. I understand it's where like the nitty gritty stuff took place, but it's like I don't know. The Quarry titling it the Quarry, I
The
felt like it was a
Rock
little
Quarry has very
misleading.
little to do. Like it would have been like calling Until Dawn like the
Oh,
sanity.
no, that was it. That was it. This one should be called Until Dawn, in my opinion.
Oh shit!
That's what
Yeah.
it was.
Oh
'Cause I was like, that makes
yeah.
because they literally have to survive until dawn. Like that's
Well, yeah.
literally what
Once
they
the moon's
do.
gone, once the moon.
But it's called the Quarry, and I'm like, this is a missed opportunity.
Probably
Yeah, you
because
should have
they
called this one
used
Until
Until.
Dawn and
Here's the thing.
called
Hold on.
Until Dawn
Hold
the
on.
Quarry because of the coal miners.
They literally could have just called this. Bear with me. Until Dawn 2.
Oh yeah.
It's a new thing, but they're just building off like that style of game, and it would have made so much more sense with the name. And honestly, I
Mhm.
understand sometimes the 2 doesn't get a lot of people, but I feel like, well, you know what I mean. Like the numbers drop because like, oh, I didn't play the first game, blah blah blah. But I think in this
Yeah.
scenario, I think it would have done better because Until Dawn is like a fairly popular game in like the PlayStation
Oh
ecosystem and
yeah.
all that stuff. So I honestly think with the name being more fitting in this scenario, Until Dawn 2 would have been better in all aspects of the like naming conventions. So yeah, that's my gripe with the name.
Damn, I'm pissed now.
It makes so much more sense, right? You're like, oh fuck.
It really
Yeah.
does.
Until Dawn in the first one made sense, I guess, because like I think people come after like once the sun rises or whatever, but like
Yep.
yeah, it would have made so much more
'Cause
sense.
that's when, like,
for
the
That
that.
with
helicopter
werewolves,
flies
that's
over the
so
lodge.
built into the lore of like you only have to
Exactly,
survive
yeah.
the one night.
So if this was Until
Yep.
Dawn 2, I think it would have made so much more sense. But yeah, that any last thoughts? I think we covered a lot of it. It's basically next gen Until Dawn, and the writing is better. That, in my opinion.
Agreed.
I think it's
Yeah.
fantastic. I hope people who play make better decisions than I did.
Yeah, Jordan seems to have like a pretty
Get
shitty
the good
experience.
get the good ending and actually get the full extent of the story.
I don't think I got the Gorefest option, but I think I saw. Like we all shot the old lady's face off. That's one of the Gorefest. The way Abby died for me, I think, is her Gorefest option, because I don't know if you guys heard about this. After Nick falls in the pool and like he's half turning and they're trying to take care of him, she like walks up to him and he's like, Abby, do you like me? Because I guess, fucking
Which is so
turning
weird.
into a werewolf. Yeah, I guess turning into a werewolf makes him a little fucking bitch incel or something. And she says something and he has a feeling that she's lying. He rips her head off and throws it, and you get to see her head roll around, and Ariel Winter's face is just stuck at a wow or
It's so good.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't get that, but I watched Jacksepticeye do a playthrough of this just to like get another angle of it, and that's what happened, I think. And I was like, holy fucking shit. It's
Yeah.
awesome. It's gory.
I didn't use any of my rewinds. I just played it
Oh.
and let it happen.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. That's crazy to think about. I would have used it right away because like
I
all
didn't
my
have
here's the thing. I only had 3 people die. So think about that. Think about that.
I mean, I had
I could
4.
have saved I could have fucking well, I guess technically I had more of the family die, but I didn't really give a fuck
They don't
about
count.
them. I felt
Yeah.
bad for Bobby though, because
If
you could
they're
tell
not
Bobby
on the-
like you could tell Bobby wasn't like all
Mm.
there, kind of, and you're like, okay, like
The
I don't
family's
want to
just
I don't
telling
want to
you what
kill
to
you.
do.
Yeah. Like when he gets bit, he's like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Or whatever. And he's like,
Yeah.
bah, he shoots it off. Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, I think we covered it. I think
Yeah.
I almost said Until Dawn 2. Oh, fuck it. Until Dawn 2 is worth your time. That's the we should title it that. That'd be awesome. Yeah. I forget how to end these things. You should like and subscribe and comment and do all that kind of stuff. Help us grow. Yeah. If you like what you saw, do all those things I mentioned above. I'm gonna wave a goodbye to the camera. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.